Joining us today, I am Tamara Scott. You're listening to Truth for Our Time as we help you live God's Word in today's world when the headlines hit home. And here we are, zipping right back into the new year. I hope you had time to enjoy your family. I hope you had time to enjoy just time. I hope you had time to enjoy time. I mean, we're just always so rushed. So I hope you just took some time back for yourself, but even more for the real meaning of the season. And that's such cliche anymore. On Webcast One Live Studio. Web One Live Studio. I'm cutting in and out. Can you hear it, Frank? Are we okay? If I hold this, does that make it better? It's in the other room. It's in the producer's room. At least it's not my fault this time. So joining me today, and I'm very pleased to have her on our phone line, is Penny Nance. Penny Nance is the CEO and the president of Concerned Women for America. Concerned Women for America is the women's largest public policy organization in the nation, of which I am honored to be the state director here in Iowa. But Penny herself is quite an authority on cultural issues, children's issues, families issues, and she's been on the Hill for quite some time, so she knows what's happening in D.C. So, Penny, thank you for taking time out to join me today.
Well, good afternoon. We so appreciate your work here in Iowa for us today. Thank you so much for having me today.
You're welcome. Hey, so I know Congress went into session yesterday. This is the new Congress. These are the new members coming in from the 2016 election. What is the attitude on the Hill?
You know, it was great yesterday to see these new members with their families and their kids getting sworn in. And, it's like the first day of school for Congress,
right?
You know, and the new members, the freshmen come in and have to figure out where to go. And, the mood is very optimistic over there. And I think, again, we've got a Congress that is, the majority is Republican, both the House and the Senate, and now we have, Donald Trump as the president-elect, and people are excited to actually get the work done, to actually be able to put some points on the board on some of the key issues of concern for Concerned Women for America, like the life issue and religious freedom. And so I think, listen, the expectation was something different, and we all feel like we've gotten a reprieve. The fact that, Hillary Clinton didn't win, and Donald Trump won, and he's not going to be perfect because no one's perfect, but we see a path forward on the issues we care about.
I think you're absolutely right. I think when he won, I know that there was some unrest for several, but for many, you could see a collective sigh of relief take place over the nation. And I felt, and I told my husband that evening, we will see a better Christmas season because of this, and we've seen that now in the consumer confidence index. And you saw people keeping their jobs and saying, I didn't vote for him, but boy, oh boy, this puts me right on track. And so, not to make this phone call about Donald Trump, but I think you're right. I think if there's a hashtag for this session here in Iowa, at least, and I think it fits for D.C. as well, it's no excuses. Hashtag no excuses.
No, that's right. Well, and I think they know that. And I said that actually to the Trump transition team and to people that were, people getting together to start to fill these offices. And I said, the feeling is, right now around the country within our membership, and I think more broadly, is one of optimism. People are optimistic. They're optimists. But the difference between an optimist and a pessimist is a pessimist is an optimist that's been betrayed. And I said, you have big shoes to fill. You have a lot. There's been big promises made. And you really have a pretty short window to do it, because the further you get away from Election Day, the harder it is to actually drive through your agenda. And I said, no pressure. And they kind of laughed. I said, but people are counting on you. Don't blow this. And so I'm sure I'm not the only one who said that to them, maybe not quite so directly, but they understand, I think, what's at stake and are trying to make good decisions for personnel. It's always a little messy. There's some sausage making anytime you go there's 5,000 jobs that have to be fulfilled by this administration, and a very short window to do it. So there's a lot of work being done behind the scenes.
Well, and I'm thankful for all the different, I just see, honestly, and I know a lot of evangelicals might have struggled with this in the election cycle last year, but having to take a step back as National Committee woman, I had to take my step back and be neutral and just kind of see things come through. And I realized my role was not to push my opinion on others. It was to represent the views of those I was elected to serve. And I really saw people, all of the various factions coming in and working for good, differing groups with differing opinions, and how God was able to use each of them for good. The Cruz delegates, though he didn't make it and he wasn't the candidate, to have the delegates that were Cruz at the convention, the Republican platform is probably one of the most, it is said to be one of the most conservative in the history of the party.
Well,
and I thank the Cruz delegates.
That. Let me just say thank you for your part in that. And actually, the last time I was on Fox a couple of weeks ago, I was debating a woman who was, talking about the issues, and we were talking about the fact that Kellyanne Conway is not given the respect by the, quote unquote women's groups or the women's magazines or, the women's media elite, simply because she's a conservative. And they said, well, it's just because of the platform. And I'm like, what are you talking about? We love the platform. She goes, well, I know you do. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. You better believe we do, because our ladies, our directors help make it possible, help write it. So we do. And by the way, women aren't monolithic. Women around the country have differing opinions. And why are you suddenly, you decide who deserves to be given attention, how does the left somehow become the arbiter of who are our women leaders? You're not. And there's a whole group of women that don't agree with you, and when you turn away and you refuse to recognize the obvious, you become irrelevant. You're
absolutely right. And when you say that, it reminds me of exactly why Beverly LaHaye started Concerned Women for America in was it the 70s, late 70s?
Yeah.
Because
79.
she wanted to make sure that the feminist, the anti-family women who were speaking were not the only voices heard on women's issues. And I hate to say women's issues, because tell me an issue that is not a woman's issue. Whether it's war, I have family members going. I have now women are involved as well. Education, insurance, cost, jobs. It doesn't matter what the issue. We are. A woman is at the center of all of it, to be honest with you. So I want to get life is one of our big issues here. And before I go, let me say thank you. I need to say thanks where thanks is due. Yes, I was there, and several other women from Concerned Women for America were very active and very well educated on the issues and able to articulate great discussion. And I think that was a major part of our success. Part of that's because of Concerned Women for America. And if anybody out there is listening, you can join, you can get involved. And the beauty of this group is that it was started by a busy Beverly LaHaye, a loving mother. And so you can give a minimum or a maximum of your time, and that may switch back and forth in the seasons of your life. But you can.
True. Thank you.
Yes, and you can be involved, whether it's just learning more for yourself. So when you're sitting at softball practice with the other parents, you have something you can add to the conversation. Or maybe it's writing to your legislators, which we'll talk about our Encourage Those Legislator program. That is an encouraging program here later on the show today. But we also have a lobbying program where we teach people how to lobby at the State House, and we're talking about that later today as well. So there are different degrees you can get involved, but I want to say thank you to Concerned Women for America, your group, Family Research Council, your group, and Elaine Donnelly with the Military for Readiness, Center for Military Readiness. You had us prepped. And Caroline sat there at the ready. If we had a question, Caroline Adderholt was ready to run, get the answers for us.
Thank you. Well, she's our chief of staff, and she was intimately involved in, making. Our job is to help other people be successful often, behind the scenes, and she did a fantastic job. But yes, we felt very gratified by really probably one of the best certainly the best platform in my political history. So I'm very grateful for the result.
It truly was. And Phyllis Schlafly has since passed, but kid ourselves not. We are where we are today because of the work that Phyllis Schlafly has done as well. So I want to get to the life issue, and we've said no hashtag no excuses. We have such high expectations, and thankfully I saw Concerned Women for America sent out a notice of one of the offices, I think Washburn, Marsha Blackburn's office sent out a notice on the panel. Can you give us an update? What is happening there?
Well, so the most recent action by the panel that's investigating Planned Parenthood, and by the way, the Senate as well has done their own due diligence on Planned Parenthood, and has made what they call referrals to law enforcement. They have found numerous infractions, and I'm not sure that we've seen all of them yet, but at least 9 different specific violations were sent to different law enforcement entities within specific states as well as federal. And so Charles Grassley made his referral directly over to DOJ. Marsha Blackburn and their committee as well has made referrals. The next step will be a new Department of Justice headed up by none other, if we have our way about it, than Jeff Sessions as our Attorney General, and it will be up to him of whether or not they will investigate. And I believe I believe that Jeff Sessions understands what's at stake here and understands how nefarious Planned Parenthood has become. Not only do they take the life of the unborn, but they use our tax dollars to do it, and then they got caught red-handed selling baby body parts. So the committee is closing up shop. They've done their due diligence. They've done a report, and now they've been able to find some very damning evidence of illegality. And the next step will be to see how law enforcement, and we'll be there to encourage them to do their work.
And we are thankful, and the American people are waiting, as well as actually world leaders across the globe, for the next administration to step into place. Now, we have just a couple minutes before we go to break. Do you have a little bit of time to stay with us in the next segment?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure,
I appreciate that very, very much, because I want to come back to Jeff Sessions, but I think I want to leave that till after the break.
Okay.
So on the life issue, we want to see, it's not that we want to see people prosecuted, but if people aren't prosecuted, then innocent people are harmed and persecuted in the process.
That's right.
And so, go ahead.
So what came out in the hearings is that women had been betrayed. Women who walked into these clinics for whatever reason, many of them feeling like they had no other option, were told that they were doing a good thing. Some of them were not really. They were given very misleading information. And then Planned Parenthood profited from selling their baby parts. I mean, it is the most, it's absolutely, and when I say baby parts, let me just be clear, and I don't want to offend your listeners, but I think we got to talk about it in order to talk about it.
I agree.
We're talking about little baby hearts, lungs, heads, brains, and tongues. Okay, it is heartbreaking to see how that they were able to be just basically. I don't know how to say it. It's just evil, and so this came out. And David Deladian was able to capture this information, and then of course they came after him, and then finally that we had to wade through the evidence. And we're at the point where clearly they broke the law, and so there has to be accountability. But the other piece of that, of course, is the fact that $500 million of our tax money is given every year to Planned Parenthood. 40% of their budget comes from tax dollars, from grants. We are working right now getting this Congress ready for the fact that we expect, and we fully expect them to follow through, in prohibiting Medicaid funding right away from paying to going to Planned Parenthood, and instead shifting the money to community health centers that actually do help poor women, that really care for vulnerable women, that don't take life.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, we need to work on Title X, which will be through HHS and the new administration.
Excellent. So we've got to go to break right now, folks. We'll be right back. Penny Nance is my guest. She is the CEO and the president of Concerned Women for America, one of the longest-running women's organizations, but the largest women's organization on policy in the nation. Stay tuned, and Gregg Cummings from the Tea Party will join us later on as well. We'll be right back. Truth for Our Time.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah!
If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
Hey everybody, I brought Northern Lights Pizza! And it's got Graziano sausage!
Rockton Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens, rock on! This is Pat McManus for Rock and Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Thanks for joining us. You're listening to Tamara Scott, Truth for Our Time, helping you live God's Word in today's world when the headlines hit home, and man, do they hit. Which makes me think, you can't hardly talk about news anymore without the fake news hashtag coming up. And I just, here's the deal. We wouldn't be turning to lesser-known websites and to Facebook and to social media if the news sites would tell the news. But since they omit the truth most of the time, or the better part of the real truth behind the issue, then we have to go somewhere else and get it. We'd rather get partial or parses of truth on a non-traditional site than flat-out lies and falsehoods from the mainstream media, and that's what we seem to be getting. So thank you for joining me today. I have online Penny Nance. She is the CEO and the founder of Concerned Women for America, a very well-respected group on the Hill in D.C., as well as here in Iowa, and I'm guessing state capitals across this country. And we were talking before we went on to break about the fact that we want to defund the Title X, defund the money from going to Planned Parenthood. And I want folks to understand this will in no way stop women from getting treatment that they need. Let's be honest, purposely killing one or leaving one dead is not medicine. Purposely leaving one dead is not medicine. But what this would do, and here in Iowa, I think we have 200 clinics that are already qualified to receive any of these Medicaid monies, and they would be able to offer better services, a more whole service, a whole medical treatment for young women. And because there are 200 of them, they are located regionally throughout the state and would be easier for lower poverty or lower income women to get to because they're not so far away. So it would be a win-win for the patient, a win-win for the individual, the citizen, and for the taxpayer. So, Penny, I just wanted to make sure people understand that here in Iowa, it's 200 clinics across the state that would replace, I think, 13. So you can see,
and
right?
You're not alone.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the number overall is there is 20 federally qualified health clinics to every one Planned Parenthood clinic, yet they suck up so much of the tax money that could actually go to these other clinics who are doing good work. And they're not just doing gynecological care, although they do that. They care for the whole woman. The number one killer of women is heart disease. So, we got to care for the whole woman. And many of the people who live in these, low-income areas need more than just a gynecological check. And they certainly should understand, and we understand that should not be paying for an abortion for the taking of a life, which kills one and harms the mother. And so, we have strongly said, it's time that this thin veneer respectability is stripped away from Planned Parenthood. What they do, the majority of what they do, even though they have all these counting gimmicks to say that they don't, is to take life. They do 1 in 3 or 1 in 4 abortions in this country, depending on how you parse the numbers. They are about taking life. They're not about saving life and caring for poor women. They don't do mammograms. Mitt Romney missed a great opportunity in his debate against Obama to clarify that point. But now I think people are starting to get the idea, and we did our first rally within the communities that because by the way, there's certainly a racist element here, right? I mean, the majority of Planned Parenthood clinics, the vast majority, are in minority neighborhoods in the city of New York, and we don't have the numbers for every city because they're not required to report. But in New York City, the last 2 years, more African-American babies have been aborted than have lived. And they were just fine with that. We have actually, Live Action was able to do a recording in which someone called into Planned Parenthood and said they specifically wanted their money to go to abort a black child. And they said, oh, that's fine. There's all kinds of reasons for abortion. Sure, no problem. And it's just that Margaret Sanger, who was their founder, it goes back to that eugenics, big brother, I know better than you way of looking at life, in which they discriminate based on race, based on who they think is worthy of life. And that's changed in the 100 years of Planned Parenthood.
Absolutely. You're absolutely correct. They based on income, based on IQ, and race. So, and I was pleased to see the event you did. You had my friend, Dr. Alveda King.
Isn't she wonderful?
Yes. She's a friend to me, a friend to this program. She and I share a birthday, and she is always marching for life on her birthday somewhere.
She is. Oh, she's fantastic. And we're doing, by the way, in 2017, 10 other events around the country. Again, taking this to the local community. And again, a lot of these are minority communities, and coming alongside, not speaking over them, not speaking down to them, giving them a platform and boosting their ability to speak truth into their communities, and just come alongside and linking arms. And Dr. King's going to be a big part of that. And I'm going to be joining her on MLK Day in Atlanta at the Martin Luther King Jr. Center.
Oh, you will love it.
Talking about racial reconciliation. So I'm so excited to be, it's a passion of mine, something I care very much about, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
Great. She came here, as you know, for Conservative for America, back in 2014 or 15, and we were able to bring together, with the help of the community, the superintendent of the largest school district in the state, the mayor of Des Moines, Democrat, the police chief, interim police chief, who is now the police chief for Des Moines, and several pastors, minority and otherwise, and we were able to have a unique and an incredible experience with 300 students from one of the high schools. We also took her to a junior high, 600 students there. Imagine Alveda King in front of 600 students, had them singing This Little Light of Mine. And we were able to talk about life in a very positive fashion, life in the womb. And so God that woman, wherever you have her, God works through her. She's able to speak for the season in time, and she just has
and
words.
Anointed.
Yes.
I mean, I think the word is anointed.
Yes.
She's anointed, and she has the credibility. She has not only the king name, but the king heart.
Yeah.
And she's able to, very forthrightly deal with these issues, deal with issues of race, deal with issues of discrimination, deal with the issue of life, and to talk about what Dr. King said about that issue and how that he was pro-life, even though Coretta Scott King went to an event or something at one point, and people like to point to that. But no, he understood the importance of life and liberty, and she is we're so grateful to get to work alongside her because we love her and are very grateful to her.
Yes. So, and because she's walked the walk she has, we often wonder why God allows us to experience various things in our lives. But because of her walk, she walks with credibility, and you cannot question where she comes from. I want to move to Senator Sessions. He, as you say, has been nominated as the Attorney General, and what a terrific choice. He was in Iowa not too long ago, and what a kind and humble and just friendly, fun guy. But a serious guy who understands the Constitution. He was one of the ones to boldly come out for Trump when nobody else had. And so I don't know what he saw that others didn't see so early, but give us your thoughts on him as Attorney General.
Well, I think you said it. He has a very developed understanding of the U.S. Constitution, what the role of government and what the rule of law should look like. And we have seen a Department of Justice over the last several years that has basically acted as a political arm of the Obama administration, and that never was the purpose. And so I expect him to restore the Department of Justice to the original intent. I believe that there will be a much closer and congenial relationship between the federal government and local law enforcement, and a general respect for the rule of law. When you have issues like these horrible issues of violence that's been wrought by illegal aliens, illegal immigrants in this country, I think they will be held accountable because, again, Jeff Sessions understands that issue. And I really am very excited about his role in this new job. I think he will be fantastic. And so Concerned Women for America is working throughout the country. In our states, there's some real particular states that we're working on where we see Democrats that we're working to get their vote for him for confirmation. And I believe that he will be confirmed. I think he will be a fantastic choice.
I hope so. I saw, was it the NAACP that was in his offices yesterday or the day before?
Yes. That was a media stunt, and they got the media. But unfortunately for them, there have been African Americans all over the country who have come out that know him and say he is a man of great character. And, look, we can find people who don't like him. We can even find something that he said that we don't like in his whole life, certainly. We've all said things that we're
right.
But the bottom line is the way he has lived his life, the way he has, he worked to root out and prosecute the KKK in his state when he worked in the state attorney general's office in Alabama. I mean, people know him and know the work that he's willing and capable of doing. And so at the end of the day, I understand that they wanted to, get media attention, and they were able to do that, but I don't think it's going to work.
I don't think so either. We're coming to the close of this segment. I thank you, Penny Nance, for joining me.
Thank you.
What we are doing here in Iowa, and we may have one of our callers, our prayer chapter leaders, calling in here shortly, but she took 20 packets today, stopped by Des Moines and picked them up, 20 packets for our Encourage a Legislator program, our EAL program. And in Iowa, we call it Encourage a Leader as well, because we include our 7 Supreme Court justices, our 4 congressional members, our 2 U.S. senators, and then all of our 7 statewide offices, from the governor, lieutenant governor, all the way through the Secretary of Agriculture, Secretary of State, auditor, treasurer. There's one more, AG, Attorney General. So I know we do that here in Iowa. How many states do you think are participating in that, Penny?
We have 36 state directors. We have members all over the country, and I don't have an exact number, but the vast majority, I believe, are. I don't know if you all do a fantastic job in Iowa of broadening out not just to the state legislature, but leaders, and I love that. I love hearing that.
Thank you.
I got to tell you, it's so effective because a member of Congress often has served in the state legislature.
Right.
And so then I get to meet them when they come up here, and they're like, oh, I know you. And sometimes they'll pull it out of their pocket. Your ladies sent me the sweetest note, and I don't get many of those. And I just want to thank you so much for their prayer. And I'm like, wow, that is just so touching for me, and it just makes me so proud of our members. And I got to say, Tamara, and you do this so well, and our ladies around the country, I think, do this. We advocate for the things we believe in with grace and with dignity. And it's and there's two ways to skin a cat. Some people will do it one way, and they can be ugly about it, and they can be rough. We can be rough, but we don't want to be. We want to draw, to another analogy, flies to honey, and we work very hard to get to know members, build relationships, build our credibility, so that we can advise them on these issues, and they're willing to accept our help and understand that we have their best interest and our country's best interest at heart, and it works very well. And part of what you mentioned is we take seriously the scripture that says to lift up our leaders in prayer.
Yes.
And we're doing that. And so thank you for doing it. And it's very effective on so many different levels.
You're very welcome. And I thank you for taking time out to join me today. I appreciate it very much. I appreciate the lead that you have in D.C. Continue the effort. And like I said, I could just see last year, God's weaving together differing people from differing aspects. And now I see so many of them coming together. I don't even think they're planning to. I just see them coming together. So I thank you for the work you're doing there, as I and women across this nation are doing it in their states as well. And for our listeners, if you want the EAL program, if you want to participate, it is so easy. It's the most inexpensive way you'll ever fulfill the Word of God in your 1 Timothy 2, 13 and 14, praying for those in leadership. You just mail a postcard that's pre-printed. They're bright. They're happy, cheerful. You write a note that I'm praying for you or I'm thinking of you, and we'll give you more information on this when we come back. But Penny, thank you for joining me today. Everybody stay tuned. We'll be back with Gregg Cummings for Tea Party.
Northern Lights Pizza's amazing garlic butter makes amazing breadsticks. Now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza.
I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Homs.
And I'm the Service Manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed. Fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed rate or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician, that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're going to make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
And thanks for staying tuned. You are listening to Truth for Our Time, helping you live God's Word in today's world when the headlines hit home. Listen, we were talking about the EAL, Encourage a Leader, Encourage a Legislator program here in Iowa. I think it started here in Iowa clear back with a state director, a couple state directors before me. Kim Lehman, I think, is the one who started this program. You all know who she is. Anyway, the reason we did this, and you heard Penny Nance, our founder and our CEO and president of Concerned Women for America, talking about how much these are appreciated all over the nation by legislators. And here's why I believe. One, we're called by God's word to pray for those in leadership, to pray for those in authority. And anytime you do what God's word tells you to do, there will be good fruit. It will never come back bad. God's word doesn't return void, and when you are obedient, there will be good blessings, whether they're for you or for someone else that you're blessing. I think that's one. Two, I think your legislators, bless their hearts. Remember, these are men and women who leave their families. For the most part, many of them live outside the center where they have to actually rent an apartment or stay in a motel or hotel during the session, away from their family for 3 or 4 days, 4 days, sometimes 5 days, a week. So whether you like their policies or not, their leanings or not, they are taking time away from their livelihood and from their family to do what they believe is best for the Capitol. And so we brought this program out. CWA has a lobbying program, but this EAL program is different. We ask you never lobby during this program. This program is simply tell them, we encourage you, we bless you, we thank you. Here's why. Because everybody wants to tell them what they should do. Several people told them what they shouldn't have done. And nobody ever says thank you. Nobody ever just says thank you. And so these cards have scripture verses that are pre-printed, messages from our founding fathers affirming our Christian faith as a nation that are pre-printed. There's one from Ronald Reagan. There's one from Benjamin Franklin, Daniel Webster. And it just gives them affirmation and confirmation in what they're doing in one, restoring our republic and standing firm on the Christian principles that made our republic great. And hear me on that. For all of those who want to fuss and whine about separation of church and state, when someone starts that, just back away slowly. Because it's obvious that they don't have an understanding of our Constitution. They have been indoctrinated either in the public schools or they haven't taken time to understand history, and they're listening to someone who doesn't know or is trying to spin it for their own purposes, because this nation was founded, in the words of Patrick Henry, one of your founding fathers, Patrick Henry, one of the revolutionary guys, who said, and this is kind of a paraphrase, but America was not founded on religionists, but by Christians. Not on religion, but on the gospel of Jesus Christ. And who was Patrick Henry? He was the guy who said, give me liberty or give me death. So know your history, know your roots, know your country, and that gives you the courage to stand better on those things that made our republic strong. And that's why we send these cards. If you want to join us in that program, that Encourage a Legislator or Encourage a Leader program, you may message me on Facebook. Just send me a private message, Tamara Scott on Facebook, or you may message records at iowa.cwfa.org, iowa.cwfa.org, records at CWFA, that's Concerned Women for America, the F is for the for America.org. All right, speaking of rebuilding this republic and making our nation strong, is a champion on that issue. He is a patriot. He is literally a veteran, and he's often on the border investigating, securing, and doing what he can to keep the rest of us back here safe. Gregg Cummings, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Tamara.
And so our listeners, let me just give them a little peek. This show is being pre-taped on Wednesday. As you know, we do the show live on Friday, and I thank all of you who join us at 10 a.m. on Fridays. So pleased to hear that at points we have 24,000 people viewing at one point in the show. I'm stifled by that. I think I better go home and redo my hair when I hear that. But people are watching. Today we had to pre-tape, and it was with little notice, and I was not sure I was going to have a guest. Frank, I thank you for being my producer. Frank was on call for me, and he was in studio, and I still didn't have a guest. And I said, Lord, either I call Frank and I tell we're done for the day, or you provide somebody. And guess what? Guess who called me? Gregg Cummings within a few minutes. Thank you so much, Gregg Cummings.
Well, thank you very much. I think that this is very, very important, and I'm pleased to hear that the Spirit brought us together today.
I do absolutely believe that things are ordained, especially when we submit our lives and our hearts and our walk to Him. And I don't know if you were listening to the segment before, probably because we're not actually live today, you might not have been able to, but Penny Nance was talking about Jeff Sessions and his appointment as Attorney General, and though some people are trying to diminish his witness and they're trying to destroy his character, his walk outweighs their words. And that's what we're talking about. Gregg, tell us a little bit about the work that you do and what's on your plate right now.
Sure. One of the big things that I'm working on right now, and a lot of people know me here in Iowa as one of the co-founders of the Iowa Grassroots Coalition. Well, during this presidential election, one of our biggest contributions was at the very beginning the candidate assessment card, which was just a tool for individuals to make sure that they're assessing the candidates for the right candidate and so on and so forth. Well, with that card went out, too, is to, as much as possible, stay away from the candidate worship to where we start dividing ourselves and fighting and dividing our movement, because the liberal machine, the progressive machine, is so well put together that it is an entity in itself to be focused to fight versus ourselves. So just like the president-elect has a transition window to be ready by January 20th to hit the ground running for his term to begin, so should we, the people, do the same. And so us at the Iowa Grassroots Coalition, we really talked about this issue a lot. And so one of the things that we know for sure over the past 8 years is that the grassroots conservative activists across this state, it's across the nation, but we're focusing on the state of Iowa right now, has done a tremendous amount of work and accomplished much, right? But however, some of the weaknesses or the parts that did fall by the wayside was some of our loose communication, some of the lack of partnership at some point. We were all working independently a lot. So a lack of teamwork on some parts, not all, but on some parts with other groups and other organizations, and then coalition building. So what's the plan that I'm bringing to the state of Iowa, and more specifically right now to Des Moines? We believe that this training needs to come in, and do you have that?
I have not heard back yet, but we think tentatively we have a location for you. Now, what we can do is go ahead and talk about the training and give people someone to call, or your email, or how they can get in contact with you, and you can give them the details.
Right, and I'll be glad to go over that here in a second. But do you have the clip I sent you, the 58-second clip?
I don't have the clip.
Okay.
I'll send it to our producer and see if we can play it when we come back out of the break.
Oh, okay, well, that's fine. So let me go in to just talking about what this training is in a summary. So basically, there's 5 levels of training of the Center for Self-Governance. Mark Herr, who is the founder of the Center of Self-Governance, a very close friend of mine. I've worked with him for years nationally, and he started in Tennessee first, but they've grown in success so much that they are bringing this training to everyone throughout the country. And what their mission is to teach individuals to keep their republic by rediscovering and effectively exercising their civic authority within our republic. And it's an outstanding course. There's 5 levels within it. A lot of people want to know what is self-governance. It is, in essence, you're exercising your individual liberty, personal responsibility, and civic authority to control.
Hang on. We'll be right back after these messages with more from Gregg Cummings and how you can learn.
Okay.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly.
I got it,
right,
but
kids?
I didn't see a link on it.
If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Rockton Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for the opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens. Rock on. This is Pat McManus for Rockton Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
Northern Lights Pizza, your home of the tasty crust. Our garlic butter sauce now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Thank you for tuning in to Truth for Our Time as we help you live God's Word in today's world. So I just want to touch base. We've got Gregg coming on the phone. Gregg is our Tea Party guy here in Central Iowa and in the nation. Gregg, what is your title?
Field team, the national field team for the Tea Party Patriots, as well as the co-founder of the Iowa Grassroots Coalition.
And the co-founder of the Iowa Grassroots Coalition. And the link that we were talking about, the trailer that he has, is about a minute long, and it's Center for Governance, Self-Governance? .com. I will put that on my Truth for Our Time Facebook page, Center for Self-Governance.com, and on there to the right, you'll see a video, and that's the trailer we want you to go and look at. So, Gregg, are you ready to tell people about the training you're going to do here in Iowa?
Yeah, so I just need to back up just a little bit here. So simply put, the plan itself is to create a handful of citizen activists that will be trained in the entire 9 yards on how to work directly with your state legislators. And not just the state legislators that represent you in your district, but also at the State House. And so that's what this training does. There are 5 levels of this training. Level 1 is the foundation in self-governance. It's a 4 to 5 hour course that will teach the students to compare and contrast the concepts of power, government, and control, and where we stand as we the people within this republic. And this is not just a course where you just go and sit down and learn and take a test and then you pass it. This is a course that actually puts you in an active part of your state government. So you will actually be going to the State House, sitting down with your legislators and learning how to do so, and given homework to do that kind of stuff. And then it moves on. In the future, there'll be level 2, 3, 4, and 5.
But this is the first phase you're doing in January.
Correct.
Okay. And
so this will be the level 1.
Can we give people a date?
Yes, it'll be January 14th on Saturday. I am currently now working on that flyer, and as soon as I get that done, which should be today or tomorrow, I'll send that to you so you can send it out to other folks.
And when we get the location pinned down, we'll put that, of course, on Truth for Our Time Facebook page as well. We think we have one. Will be very accessible off of Highway 5, just in Southwest 9th. So just kind of keep that in your little cap. We think that's where we're going to be headed, but we want to make sure that everything's firmed up before we put it out there for sure. And so that will be Saturday, January 14th, and it will start at 9 o'clock, and you'll be done by 1.
That's correct.
So people can come and learn. And I love this because Concerned Women for America, we have trainings on lobbies. We've taught people how to lobby from their laptop. We've taught people how to lobby on issues for years. But yours is a little more in-depth, I think. And then you have other ones besides this. As soon as, and not, what if somebody says, I can't commit to all your phases?
Then that's fine. So if they come for level 1 and they feel comfortable at staying at that level and working at those areas, writing letters to the legislators, informing other people, and just understanding where we as an individual citizen of this country stand within the authority of our republic and how that civic duty actually looks. So it's a lot more than just voting during election time. So that's very important. So this first training gives that student that level of understanding. And then each level just continues to move up. And towards the end, by the time, if you work all the way through all 5 levels, you'll be able to write your own bills and take those bills and give them to the state legislators and say, okay, this is what's in this bill. It's already written for you, and we just need your John Hancock to support it and to spearhead it, and that's how in-depth this gets when you finally get through all 5 levels.
And the beauty of this is, if you would take such a document to your legislators, your bill's going to get a lot further. If you have a document that is in pretty good shape, when you give it to them, they're going to see, 1, the credibility of it, but 2, it's just because they're busy, they're bogged down, they have hundreds of bills they've got to look through each year, and people are pulling at them a variety of different directions. But if you can learn to do this, you yourself can be helping to steer the course for your state.
Yes. Now, let me tell you the beauty of this before we run out of time, and that is that right now is the first time Iowa has had a trifecta in ages. That's where we own the majority in both the Senate and the representative side of the House, as well as the governorship. So with that, what we should not do is continue just to sit home and complain and be keyboard warriors on what's happening that we don't like of our elected officials that we put in office. We ourselves are now, through this kind of training and developing this kind of a group there in Des Moines, we ourselves now are taking part and participating in what is actually being focused on and what is actually being discussed on the Hill. So with all that, now I sat down with a handful of state legislators that love this idea for 2 reasons. One is what you just said. If we, the people of our state, are bringing to the legislators what, in a form of a bill to push forward, they know for a fact that they are representing the people. That's why they are elected, right? And now they have the document of the people's position on any particular issue. Okay, so now they'll be able to share that information with others, get more on board to help them, unlike the past where we've only had 2 or 3 and pressures of coming together and trying to get some liberal stuff in the bill as well, and so on and so forth, just to make a deal. That's going to go by the wayside, and we're going to have more power in making things happen that we, the people, want to have happen, and that's why our elected officials are there, not the other way around.
Absolutely. Gregg Cummings has been my guest today. Gregg Cummings, thank you for everything that you do for our state and our nation. How can people get a hold of you or say, I want to come to this training? How can they get a hold of you?
2 ways. First one is my phone number, which is 641-455-1917, and it would be better if you text first, and then we'll arrange a time to call. And then the other way is by email, and that's Gregg, Gregg, at TeaPartyPatriots.org.
TeaPartyPatriots.org. Gregg, I thank you for everything you do. And as soon as, like I said, we get that location confirmed, we'll get it on Truth for Our Time Facebook page and let you know about that. Gregg Cummings has been my guest today, and he's very serious. I've heard so many people say, gosh, we've prayed so much during this election, or what a close call that was. Listen, you don't stop now. One of the Websters, I don't know if it's Nathaniel or Daniel, says, God grants liberty to those who will guard it and protect it. You are no way off the hook. Now is your chance. As Gregg said, trifecta. We said it earlier in this program, no hashtags. Now is a time for you to make a difference. You've got the ball. Why do you wait till the other team has the ball? Those who love liberty, freedom, and this Constitution, now is your time. With love, firmly, politely, make a difference. Gregg, thanks for joining me today. For those there, you are challenged every time on this show. I thank you for listening. You've been given great information, easy ways you can make a difference. Be encouraged, and now never be complacent.